Hey, welcome back to another Moralis video. My name is Bharat, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can leverage Moralis APIs in order to build your own DEXScreener clone. So let's get started. So this is what we're going to be building in today's tutorial. As you can see, this is a DEX terminal, very similar to DEXScreener, where you can essentially see all kinds of trending coins. And if you click on a trending coin, you will be able to see the charts for it, etc. I'm going to show you a quick walkthrough of all the features so that you can kind of understand what we're going to be building. So if you look at this, we are right now in the main trending page. So you see all of the trending tokens. You can essentially filter across chains. Like right now, I'm going to get the tokens on Solana. Now I'm going to get trending tokens on Ethereum, etc. Letting you quickly get like trending tokens on that particular chain. Apart from just the trending tokens here, you also can sort out these tokens. Like let's say you want to sort them out by market cap. There you go. Now you can essentially get all of the trending tokens sorted by market cap. Apart from that, you also have advanced filtering, which means that if you're a hardcore trader trying to actually do some analytics and find out tokens based on custom criteria, you will be able to come to this filtered tokens page. And over here, you can essentially select the chain, put in a metric like experienced buyers, 1 month, etc. And once you click on apply filters, that's actually going to run this query and give you a list of tokens that match that criteria. So that's on the advanced filtering. Aside from the advanced filtering, you also have pump fund tokens. And what this essentially means is that you will be able to get a live feed of all the pump fund tokens as they are created. And you will also be able to track their bonding progress and their graduation, etc. And like I mentioned earlier, all of this is again clickable. So I still haven't showed you the cool part, which is the token page itself. So if you click on any token here, it's going to take you to the token page. So let's just try it out. Let me just pick, let's say SPX. So when I click on this, there you go. So now we are basically in the token page. You can get real-time charts for your token. You can basically get real-time pair stats. So that's what you see right here. You can see the price in USD, the price in Ether. You can see we have the website, Twitter, Telegram. Basically, all the data you're seeing right now is coming from Moralis API. And you can also get like the pair stats based on the time interval. So if you look at this, you have transactions, volume, makers, etc. And when you switch, you can see like the numbers are basically changing. So all this data is coming from Moralis API, and we're going to go over essentially what are all the APIs that are powering this application and how you can essentially integrate that. And if you look down, you actually have a live feed of transactions coming in, which is kind of perfect if you're monitoring a particular token, because you get all the token transactions right here. You will be able to ultimately click on a token transaction and view it, etc. So this goes straight to the block explorer where you can essentially see this particular transaction, etc. If you want to look at the holders, you have a holders tab where you can kind of see what are all the tokens that are holding this particular, what are the wallets that are holding this particular token. And in case the holder is basically an entity, you also get the entity info. Like you can see right here, Wormhole and Token Bridge contract actually holds a huge chunk of these tokens. And then you have like the Bybit hot wallet, you have Murad wallet, which is actually holding this. Basically, you can do a whole lot of analysis by just using this holders data as well. Then you get holders insights. So if you want to find out insights on the holders, there you go. So now you can find out like the holders trends. In the past 1 hour, how many holders have increased. In the past 7 days, how much increase, etc. And supply distribution basically shows you like how much percentage of the top holders are actually controlling how much percentage of the supply. So here, if you see the top 10 holders control 34% of the supply. So you can basically see stuff like that. And coming here, you can see holders acquisition. And this is a really important metric because if you want to basically get to know like how the holders actually became holders, you can basically check out this chart, whether they were airdropped or whether they swapped or whether they were they received it through a transfer. You can basically find out all of that through this. And coming to snipers, so snipers is also really cool because now you can essentially get sniper data for any token pair, which means you will be able to find out addresses of sniper bots, etc., when they bought, how many buys, how many sells, how much profit they made, and what's the current balance of the token, etc. So all of this is coming from our API, and I will be showing you how you can integrate all this data in your particular application. So that's basically it on the features. We're basically, okay, we're yet to see the portfolio. So portfolio is essentially a feature that lets you add a couple of wallets to your portfolio, and essentially through this you're going to be able to track. So as you can see, when we added I added a couple of wallets, you can see all of the token holdings, and essentially you will be able to just click on a particular token and go straight to the token page of that particular token as well. So if you see right here, I have all these tokens. Let's try clicking on this one, and there you go. So now we can basically see the chart, the transaction holders, snipers, all of that data which you usually get. So essentially this is basically covering all the features that we just saw. And yep, basically in the pump fund section as well, on all the tokens you will be able to click on any particular token, go straight to the token page where you can see charts, the data about that particular token, the transactions, all of that straight from this page. So now we can basically get started on building this. I'm also going to link the GitHub repo and the documentation which you need in order to build this in the comments. So you will be able to like refer that if you're following along as well. So to start with, what you can do is you can basically head over to developers.moralis.com. Once you have logged in, you will be able to see your dashboard. And basically, this is all you need to get started. You just need a Moralis API key. And once you're here, you can copy the Moralis API key. Or if you want to create new keys, you can just go to API keys and create more such keys. So I've already created a key, so I'm just going to copy this. And to head to documentation, you can just click on this, and that's going to take you to docs.moralis.com. And that's where our API documentation sits. You can basically find out whatever APIs we support right from this particular page. So that's basically all you need to get started. I've also linked the GitHub README of our project, so you can basically see what are all the Moralis APIs used with direct links to API docs, which makes it super easy when you want to navigate and see the APIs for yourself. So I think now we're all set. We have all the resources now to get started, and we can basically get started. So for getting started, I'm just going to open up a quick terminal. Let's put this here, and let me cd into my desktop. Let's create a new folder, and let's call it DEX terminal tutorial. Yep. And now let's cd into this. Okay, I got the wrong one. Okay, there we go. And now let's basically use create react app in order to actually create the react app template. So I'm just going to do npx create react app and dex terminal. So now let's basically wait for this to complete, and this is basically gonna install the React app for us. Once this is complete, we can move on to the next step, which is to actually install the dependencies and stuff. So let's wait for this to finish. And all right, so as you can see, looks like the create React app has basically completed. And now the next step for us is to actually just install all of the dependencies. So I'm just gonna copy the dependencies that we need right here. And as you can see, these are the dependencies you need for charting, etc. So I'm just gonna hit npm install. Let's wait for this to complete. All right, so now all the dependencies are installed, and we basically, let me just check it once we are in the right. Oh, okay, actually we made a mistake. We need to go into the DEX terminal and then install the dependencies. So I'm just gonna run this again here. So let's wait for this to complete. All right, so now we basically have all of the dependencies installed, and as you can see, this is where we are. So the next step is to actually initialize the Tailwind CSS, because we're going to be using Tailwind for our UI. So I'm just going to do npx tailwind css init -p, and this should essentially create the config.js file. That's what you see right here. We have the tailwind css.config right here, and we also need to create the env. So if you're basically following, don't commit your env. So I'm just gonna add the env to my git ignore, and then now let's basically create the .env. So once you've created the .env, the next step is to actually put in your Moralis API key. So let's just go back here, and I'm just gonna put the React app key, and now I'm gonna paste the Moralis key from here. All right, so now we have the key set up, everything is good. And next step would be to actually just configure our Tailwind CSS. So I'm just going to configure our Tailwind CSS with the template I have right here. So I'm just going to put this in, and this is basically just some color configs to make our UI look much better, like this one. So I've added those Tailwind CSS configs. Coming back to our configs, the next step would be to actually add the same configs onto our index CSS as well. So let's basically do that. So okay, all right, so now I've basically copied my index CSS stuff for the CSS. So I'm just going to go into index.css, remove all of this, and we have put in Tailwind stuff. So I think now we're basically all set, and we should be able to run this with npm start now. So let's just ensure we have everything. Let's do npm start. All right, it's gonna run this on the 3001 port. All right, so now we have the React app running right now. So the next step would be to actually, I'm just going to duplicate this here and change this, so we have both of them side by side. All right, so now if you look at what's exactly next, it's basically going to be building certain parts of the trending and the search page. So we're going to start with that. So if you look at this, this is the main trending page. You basically can see all of the trending tokens. You can see the search. You can see the stop bar that has a couple of chains, which when you click automatically changes the route on top and shows you the trending tokens. You also have sorting implemented here and filters. So you have the networks on the left. So to start with, let's actually just try to understand what API we need to do this in order to get these trending tokens. So I'm going to be starting with showing you the trending tokens API, and you can basically follow along. So the API that we use for trending tokens is actually just the trending tokens API, which you can find by going to docs.moralis.com. Once you're here, click on EVM API. So since the trending tokens is basically a cross-chain API, you will find it on both EVM and Solana. So you can just click on token API here. Once you have done that, go to trending tokens, and here you go, you have trending tokens right here. So this is the API that lets you ultimately get trending tokens across any chain, and it basically gives you all the data along with the trending tokens. So to show you this in action, I'm just going to open my terminal again. I'm just going to open a new window here, and yep. So let's basically try getting the trending tokens on ETH, and I'm just going to copy the curl command so it's easier for you to follow through the terminal. Let's close the remaining ones. Yep. Okay. So now we have it here, and now if you hit this API, there we go. So this is what you get with each of the responses. You can basically get the trending tokens on ETH. You can get the chain ID, the token address, the name, the logo, the USD price. Essentially everything that you see in this API is what is used for actually building this trending menu. You can basically see all of the logos, the name, symbol, transactions, liquidity, market caps. Basically all this data is what is powering the trending tokens. So we're going to be integrating this trending tokens API in our particular application. So let's move on to the next step. So the next step is to actually create the basic structure for our application. So if you look at that, we're just going to create like a basic components structure. So I'm just going to do that by heading over here. I'm going to create a folder called components. So let's just do that. Okay, I've created that, and within this I'm going to create folders for each of the things. So I'm going to create one folder for layout, and let's also have a folder for trending. So this is basically for the trending components, whatever are needed. Aside from that, we need components for the token page. We also need modals, which is essentially the stuff you see right here. The advanced filtering is showing up as a model. Similarly, the search also shows up as a model. So we're going to store the model component separately. Aside from this, we also have the portfolio. So let's create that. All right. Let me just zoom in a bit. Yep. And next we need the pump fund components. So let's basically create that. Yep. So now we have the components folders all set up. This basically covers almost everything, I'm guessing. And now we can start creating the pages folder. So I'm just going to create pages. And aside from that, let's also create services. And here's where we're going to have some APIs that are common across various things stored here. And finally, let's have utils. So all the formatting you see right here, like 17.6K, M, dollar symbol, etc. We're going to add all the formatting to utils so that we can have some common functions right there. So now what we can do is actually start with creating the API. So within services, I'm going to create a file called api.js. And this file is going to have some of the core API logic that's common across our application, such as the trending tokens, etc. So now that we have the api.js file created, we can basically go ahead and put in like the code for our trending tokens. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm just going to open this up on my editor as well. So all right, so there we go. So I've gotten the trending tokens, and with this, I'm just going to put this into services. There you go. So as you can see right here, what's happening is this is the function that's going to fetch the trending tokens. You can see since we're using cursor, it's already done a lot of the comments and stuff for us, which is really useful. So you can see right here, this is the API key being read from the env. And this is the function that fetches the trending tokens, has the limit and the chain param, which again, if you don't specify chain param, it's going to fetch trending tokens across all the chains. So that's what you see right here. And now that the trending tokens API is basically created right here, what you can do is actually move on to the next one. So we're going to go to utils and we're going to create a formatters.js. So I'm just going to add this, and this is going to have some basic formatting stuff that we need. So I'm just going to put this in here. And if you look at this, it's basically just formatting the BMK. So this is basically some boilerplate code, which essentially is just checking if the numbers are big, and essentially adds the K, M, B, etc. and does all of that. So now we have created that. So now we can basically head on to the components itself. And to start with, let's go into the layout component. So the layout component is going to be the stuff we see here, all of this. So let's start with building the layout for this one. So I'm going to start with creating a file called main layout.js. So let's do that. Okay. So now I have the main layout created, and I'm just going to put in the code which I have right here. All right. So what you see right here is actually going to be the main layout. So it's going to contain the left sidebar, and it's going to contain all of that. So we haven't defined all of the left sidebar yet, so we'll be doing that as well. So within layout, let's create a folder called left sidebar. And what this is actually going to have is it's going to have the stuff related to the networks, the navigation, etc. So for the left sidebar, I'm just going to create one index.js. So let's create an index.js for this. And what's going to be here in this particular component is, as you can see right here, we have got the main stuff, the logo, which you see, the DEX terminal powered by Moralis. Then you have the search button. So that's what you see right here. We've got the search button, and upon clicking it opens the model, etc., which we have not defined yet. Then you have the navigation menu and change selector components. So these are the next components that we actually need to do. So for this, within the left sidebar, let's create a navigation menu component. So I'm just gonna copy this navigation menu, and let's create navigation menu.js. And if you look at what's exactly there in the navigation menu, just got trending, pump fund, and portfolio. So I'm going to put in the navigation menu code right here. There we go. So as you can see right here, you can see you have the navigation heading, and then you have trending. And this is just some basic styling in order to ensure that it looks according to our theme. And you also have the nav link, which basically ensures it routes to the right path. So it's going to go to slash, and then over here, if you see, it's going to go to slash pump fund. If you click on pump fund tokens, and finally portfolio goes to slash portfolio. So we also have to finally define all the routes, which we will be doing as well. So now that we have created navigation menu, the next one's actually to create the top bar. As you can see, we're here, and actually we'll create the chain selector first. So let's go back here and let's create the chain selector. So I'm just going to create chain selector.js, and let's basically put in the code which I have here for chain selector. And if you look at what exactly is this chain selector component, it's basically this menu you see right here. It's nothing but just a div containing all of these buttons, and each of them are going to be nav links to the appropriate page. So now that I've created this, you can see what this is actually going to do is it's just going to iterate through all of this and create a slash path for this. So what you see over here is it's actually going to just navigate it to the path segment, and the path segment is actually just this one. So when you click on Solana, it's going to go to slash Solana. When you click on ETH, it's going to go to slash ETH, etc. So that's what you see over here, and this is what we're going to be creating right now with the chain selector component. So now that we have done the chain selector component, if you look at what's left now, we have got this menu almost done. The left sidebar is almost done. So now we just need to do the top sidebar. So for the top sidebar, let's again just create, let's just create a folder over here within layout, and I'm going to name it top bar. Okay, so within top bar, I'm just going to create an index.js. And this component is basically going to have just the stuff which you see, a couple of buttons, the sort, filters, etc. So I'm just going to copy the code I have for the top bar. So I'm just going to put in the index.js first, and then we'll go through it. Okay, so there we go. So now we have this. And if you look at what's actually happening in this, you can see all of the networks here that we want to show on the top bar. You can see the page navigation buttons, and you can see this is what's happening. We have the nav buttons, and then we have the sort and filtering. So for this, we actually need some more components because we are showing the stuff in the top bar. So what components you need are actually the sort component and the advanced filtering. So let's actually just look at this, and let's see what we need. We need filter tools component. So let's create the filter tools. So this would essentially go over here, and I've created the filter tools component, and now I'm going to just put in the code I have here for filtering it. Okay, and if you see what's happening over here is this is actually just showing you all the sort options over here. So by default, you have no sorting, and you can also sort by volume, market cap, etc. And what this is actually going to do is it's ultimately just going to do sorting on the particular data we have. So if you look at this, we have the sorting and filtering stuff here. So by default, we don't have any sort. So however, if somebody wants to filter by certain options, you can click on these options, and it's going to let you filter out of filter all of that. So that's what you see over here. So the filter tools actually contains both these two things. So we just saw the sort by, and after the sort by, you basically have this, which is the advanced filters button. So the advanced filters button is actually going to open the model. And as you can see, this is what is triggering the model as well. So you have is filtered, that's going to determine whether or not to open the filter model. So you have the button here, and on click it's opening the open filters model, and that's going to do that. Right now we haven't coded the model logic yet, so we're just going to first go through this code to understand on how you can essentially do the filtered tokens API as well. So coming to our filtered tokens API, how you can essentially filter out various tokens based on various metrics is this is actually using the filtered tokens API under the hood. So if you head over to Moralis and click on get filtered tokens, so this is the API that essentially is used for adding a couple of filters and actually getting results that match a particular filter criteria. So you can also go through this FAQ to understand more about this and what you can do with the API. So if you look at this, you can essentially use this API to filter between numerous metrics like market metrics, user metrics, etc. And aside from that, you basically can put in a time frame, and if you're basically if you've used Moralis, we have a strategy builder there, and essentially that's going to be using the filtered tokens API under the hood in order to give you results of all the tokens that meet a particular criteria. So if you're just filtering experienced buyers, etc., all of that, you can do it with the filtered tokens API. So coming to our filtered tokens endpoint, let's actually see it in action here. So if you want to see the API in action, you can essentially do it right from this docs page. So you can see the chain is set to 0x1, which is pointing to Ethereum. And if you look at what's it's filtering by, it's actually going to filter out tokens which has experienced buyers in the past 1 month more than 10. And it's sorting them based on the experienced buyers. We've also limited it to 5 so that we get a quick response from the API. So I'm just going to hit test live API here. And there you go. So now you got the results. So for this, you basically get data on the security, the logo, the block number, the USD price, etc. for this particular token. And you can also see all the metrics that we saw earlier. So you can get the experienced buyers, liquidity change. And these are the metrics essentially which you can again filter by or sort by. So this tokens, filter tokens endpoint is what you will be using in order to create the filtered tokens UI. So now that we have our filtered tokens endpoint right here, so you can see we just created the filter tools. The next thing would be to actually create the filters model. So for creating the filters model, I'm just going to go into models and let's create a folder called filters model. All right, and I'm going to create an index.js within this. All right. So now within the filters model, we can now have the code for it. So I'm just going to open the code up for the filters model, and I'll walk you through what we have right here. So if you see this, what you have right here is you're going to get all of the metrics and all of the things which you need in order to create this model. So if you look at this, what are all the list of metrics which are accepted, what are the time frames accepted, all of that is what we see right here. It's put into like this kind of list so that you can easily just select and add filters or time frames accordingly. And based on this particular filters that you have selected and put in, you're going to make an API call to this particular endpoint, which is the same as what we have here in docs. So you can see that if I go into filter tokens API, you can see the endpoint is /discovery/tokens, and we're making an API call there, and we're actually getting all of the data, and all the data once it's received is actually again shown just in our particular UI. So that's what you see right here. And finally, if you look at this, you will be able to see all the tokens. So you can see we have the SVG, we have the chain selection and the filter condition, etc. And this is basically what we are seeing is what you're seeing like the code right here for the model. So this is the filters model component and contains everything and makes the API call when someone basically clicks on apply filters. So that's on the filters model component. We can now implement the token search component as well. So I'm going to create the model for search. So let's just create another folder and let's name it search model. All right. So the search model is going to have the search model that comes up. So by default, you don't have to have this kind of trending tokens menu here. We're just showing this so that whenever someone's searching, it's easier for them to go straight to the trending tokens. Like if you're even inside a token page and you want to just like check out a quick trending, another quick trending token, you can just click on search and immediately you will get to go into any trending token page as well. So that makes it super easy to navigate across various token pages. So that's what we're going to be doing now in our search model as well. So let's head over to our search model code. So I'm just going to open that up, and within search model, I'm going to have the index.js. I'm going to create the index.js here. All right, and let's put in the search model code. So if you look at what's happening in this search model, it's actually going to have a loader, and we just have some stuff so that whenever you click on escape, it's going to close, or if you click outside the search model, it's going to close the search bar so that we can continue with browsing the token page, etc. And fetch trending tokens is where we're actually making the API call to get the trending tokens. And as you can see, we're using the API we first defined on api.js in order to get the trending tokens. And you have the search tokens API right here. So if you look at search tokens, this particular component, it's actually using the search API in order to get the token results. And I'm going to show you the search API as well soon. So if you come here, you can essentially head over to search tokens. So within token API, you can click on search tokens. Again, this is basically a cross-chain endpoint, which means by default, you don't have to specify any chain. And when you don't specify any chain, it's going to do a cross-chain search for a particular query across all of this. I'm going to give you all of the tokens. So if you look at this, I'm just going to show you something. Let's try searching for helium, and let's not put in any chain. And if you actually try running this API, you will get the result right here. There you go. We got helium network token. We got the token address, the chain, the volume USD, all the data required for our particular token. And by default, this limits to 10 results because typically in a search bar, you wouldn't be showing more than 10 results at a time. So that's what you see right here. When you search helium as well, there you go. You can see the helium network token along with the logo, the price, the percentage increase, etc. So we're going to learn how you can use this search tokens endpoint in order to create the search UI in our search model. So that's what's actually happening right here. So we have the API endpoint defined here, which is /token/search. And this is the search model that's basically present. So as soon as the user starts typing, that's when we start putting the search query in action. And if you look at this, you can basically see this is where the search tokens is called. It's called within use effect, and whenever like the user is entering a value, the search length basically increases, and it's going to make a search tokens API call to it. So here you go. This is where the search tokens call is happening. It's making an API call to the endpoint along with the query which you're passing, and by default it's going to search across all the chains. So that's what you have right here. So if you leave this blank, it's still going to search as well. So like you can see here, we have not specified any chain. However, if you want to specify and search across just a couple of chains, you can put in that as well. So that's what's basically happening over here. And you can see the div. This is basically the search component div. And here's where you can see all the stuff like the trending tokens, which you see right here. It's going to show you popular tokens right now. And finally, you have the search results component, which is going to show you the results of the search. So now that we have created the search model, the next step for us would be to actually create the search results. So let's go back to our search model and let's create the search results component within this. So I'm just going to create a search results.js, and this should essentially have all the search results that we basically need. So if you look at this component, what's actually happening is it's going to format it to look a bit more pretty when you're getting the results. So if you search for helium, you want to have the logo, the network symbol, all of that, along with the price, percentage increase, etc. So that's what's happening in the search results component to make it look more presentable for our UI. So that's on the search results component. So now that we have the search results component in place, we are basically done with search and filtering. So the next step for us would be to actually create the trending menu itself, trending page components. So let's go ahead and start creating. So let me just quickly verify if we have all the things we need. We have got the top bar. So the top bar contains all the things we see in this particular menu, and we have got the search model. The left sidebar has the chain selector component, etc. So we have got all of that covered, and aside from that, we have the search model and the filters model as well. So now we can head on and move to our trending page components. So what we can actually do now is, since we have gotten all this in place, let's actually go to pages and create the trending page. So now I'm going to create the trending page.js. And within this, let's actually add the components, add the code for this. So this is going to be the page where we copy all these components, which you see right here. So you can see we're importing the trending table, which we are yet to define. So the trending table defines this particular row. We're going to style this like a table with the headers, with the rows, and each row is going to be clickable going to the token page. So we're going to do all of that in the trending component, which we are yet to do. So coming to the next stuff, you can see the filters model is present. You can see the trending token, you can see the top bar. Rest of the things are all there. And if you look at what's happening here, this is containing the functionality for fetching the tokens. So what it's actually doing right now is, whenever your user is on this particular trending page, by default it's going to fetch all the trending tokens. So that's what you see right here. And if you see over here, you have the sort change functions. So what this does is, essentially it's going to be sorting all of the entries over here. So if you look at the state variables, you can see all of the tokens is basically going to be stored here in this array, and sort is going to actually sort all of the tokens based on our condition values. So here you go, this is the trending page, and it's going to contain the top bar, which we just created right here. It's going to contain the trending table, which we're yet to create, and you're also going to have the filters model. So the filters model is what's having the this particular model for filtering the tokens, and the top and basically the top bar, which you see right here, contains all of the other stuff that we just saw right here. So you're going to have the sort by, filters, these tokens, etc. So now let's go ahead and start creating the trending table components. So I'm going to start with going into the trending section in the components, and let's create a trending table. So I'm going to create a folder here called trending table, and within trending table we're going to put in everything. So I'm going to do index.js. All right, so this is within this, and let's put in the code for this one. Okay, so as you can see right here, what we're actually doing here is that we're getting all of the trending tokens from this particular component, the trending page component, and it's feeding in all of that into this. So trending table is a child component of this trending page, and it's going to have all of the tokens within this. So that's what we're passing right here. Once it's passed, it's going to use this component to actually render all of it. But as you see, we need to create one more stuff, two more components, which is table header and table row. So let's go ahead and create the table header.js, and that's going to contain whatever is our table headers. So I'm going to create the table header.js. Now that we have done this, I'm also going to create the token row.js as well. What do you see over here? So let's create the token row. Yep. So now let's basically put in the code for the header. So I have the headers right here, and if you look at what's actually here, is it's just returning us the headers, the t in the t head format. And as you see, we have got styling to make it look in our theme. You can see the age, volume, makers, etc. Basically, this is very similar to our response coming in from the trending tokens API, as you see right here you're going to get all of this chain, liquidity, price percent change, etc. So that's on our table header. So now we can go into token row, and let me create the token row component here as well. So now if you look at this, what's actually happening in the token row component is it's going to be having the ability to redirect you to the token page, which means when a token is clicked, it needs to navigate you to the token page. So we know the token address, and we know the tokens, we basically know the tokens chain, which means you're going to be able to construct the URL. So if you look at the route of the token page, if you click on any particular token here, so you can see it's going to be /Solana/ the token address. So that's the format we're following here, and this token row is going to actually handle that, because we're going to show all of the things in a right formatted manner, because within the token row we want to have all the things in proper format. So this is the token row component. It's going to show the logo, the token name, the price, all of this, and the colors, etc. So that's what you see. We have the relevant colors and everything to in order to show all of the token names and things. And when it's clicked, it's actually going to navigate you to the token page component. So now we have all of the necessary components in place. So let me just verify that we have all of our trending page components. So if you look at our trending page components, we've got token row, the header, etc. And yep, so now we're basically all set. We should be able to actually add this route to our app.js. So if you go into app.js, you can see right now it's just showing that React spinner. So we need to actually change this. So I'm going to go into app.js here, and I'm going to actually copy our component that we need. So let me just remove the ones which we don't have yet. So we do not have the token page. We have the search model, so let's leave that as it is. We do not have the token page yet. We have the browser router, search model, and let's remove these, and we basically are good to go. So now we have the trending page component, and we have the /chain ID route, because it's going to show us the trending page results for a specific chain. So I think now we're all set. So let's wait for this to compile. Okay, looks like we're facing a couple of errors. So let's try to see what is this component that's missing here. So all right, I think we have to go into this particular menu. So let's go into src components, layout, left sidebar, index.js. And if you look at this, it's actually not able to get the search button component, I believe. All right, so we need to create the search button. So let's do that as well. So I'm just going to quickly create the search button component. So let me check this out. All right, so now I've got the search button component. So I'm just going to create this within our search model. So let me just verify that again. So if I was to go back here, let me check where our search should come. It should come within the left sidebar, because if you go into our search onto our left sidebar, you can basically see we have got the search here, which means we need to have our search button here. And to show the search button, I've just got a basic input component along with the SVG of the search image. So that's what you see right here. We have got the search button in place. The next thing is to actually have the filter condition component. So let's actually just create that as well. So this actually comes within our models. So let's go into our filter condition components. So that should be within our filters model. So if I'm here, I should be able to create the filters condition component. And let's put in the code for our filters condition. Yep. So if you look at this, what's actually happening right now is that it's going to have all of the filter conditions. So whenever you're creating a new condition here, so you can see we are adding this particular component of the conditions. So that's what you basically see right here. That's the component which we are having right here, which is the filtered conditions. And every filter condition is basically put into this. So we also need the sort by selector. So looks like it's still having an issue with this. So let's add the sort selector as well. So I'm just going to create the sort by selector, and within the filters model is where the sort by selector as well goes. So let's do this, and I've created the selector right here. So this will contain all of the looks like we're still having an issue because components, models, and let's try to see what the issue is. Alright, so now it seems that this was just the correct format for where this filters condition and sort by selectors was called. And now if we have saved it, we should be able to see this whole thing in action now. So what we can do now is just verify we have all the routes in place within app.js. So we have got that, we've got the search model. So now if you head to our application, there we go. So now you essentially have the trending tokens right here. You can see all the menus, you can see the top bar, you can see each of the trending tokens. However, if you click on these, it's not going to load because we have not defined the token page component yet. So that's what you see right here. So what we have done right now is we have created the overall layout. We have created the trending tokens. We have the top bar, the left side menu, etc. And what we can do next is we can actually head into creating the token pages for each of these tokens. So if you want to see how the token pages look, let's just click on a particular EVM token page. So I'm going to go to Ethereum and let's click on, let's say, Maker. So when I click on Maker, you can see right here, it shows you the chart. So you can see the chart, a real-time chart for the MakerDAO token. You can basically see the transactions, you can see holders, you can see holder insights, you can see snipers. So this is going to actually be a bit of a big section where we're going to cover all of the APIs that is powering up this particular UI. And you can see right here is you can also switch between various pairs of the Maker token. So when you switch between various pairs, you're going to get the new chart for that particular pair, etc. So I'm going to show you all the APIs step by step before we go into actually building this particular thing. So to start with, let's actually start with the core chart. So how can you actually create this kind of chart is by heading over to moralis.com. You will be able to just get the price chart embed code. So if you look at this, you can, right now we are in Moralis, you can click on more, you can click on widgets, and it's going to take you to the page where you can get all the widgets. We're going to click on price chart widget. And once you're in the price chart widget page, here you go. You can basically see our token, you can see the embed code, you can see the configuration, etc. And if you want to actually test this out, you're going to be able to chart it based on the pair address or token address. So if I am here, I'm going to just show you from the one running on 3000 because we have it right here. And if you scroll down, I have the pair address right here. I'm just going to copy that. And if I come here, I'm going to put in the chain. Let's see what chain it was. It's ETH. Okay. So we're going to put in ETH and we're going to put this pair address. And now if you hit apply, it should actually shows the chart for the Maker wrapped Ether tokens. That's what you see right here. So we're exactly using this chart embed code in order to show this chart within our application. And coming to how you can actually embed this, there you go. You get straight React and HTML code, which means that you can directly copy this. And the only thing you have to change while charting your particular token is the pair address. So the pair address and the chain would actually change. If it's Solana, the chain ID is going to say Solana. So you can also check it out by just switching to Solana, and let's put in a Solana pair. So I'm going to go into, let's say, Insider Eric Trump, and okay, looks like it's taking time to load. Let's just go into Solana and let's click on Fortcoin, and let's copy the address right here. So I'm just going to open up Alright, looks like I was actually just trying to open the token page from this particular 3001 port, which is actually where we have not defined the token page yet. So now if you come in and click on any particular token here, So you can see we're gonna get the chart for this insider electrum token, and I have the pair address right here. So now I've copied the pair address, and let's go back to moralis.com. So let's just go to Moralis. Let's go back to our price chart page where we were. And if we are here, we should be able to just put in the chain to Solana and put in the pair address here and hit apply. And voila, there we go. We got the chart for this particular pair. So this is just created today, probably in Pump Fun. So if you switch to like minute chart, you can see when this token, so it's been like just a short while before this token was created. So that's essentially how you can get the charts for your particular token. And coming to the next component of our token page, so I'm going to go back here to Ethereum and let's go back to our maker. So if you look closely here, we are going to get all of the data about the token, and the data for this particular token is coming from the token metadata API. So the token metadata API lets you get the token metadata such as the name, symbol, in case there are categories. So you can see here that I've got stable coins, I've got governance, I've got links to the website, Twitter, Telegram, and all of these are basically straight from our API. So if you're building a terminal or something, you would need to have these kind of authentic links, and it's super easy for you to just integrate the API to get like these info. So coming to what API you need, you can just head over to token API and click on get token metadata by contract. So this API is there on both EVM and Solana. So I'm going to start with showing you the API for EVM. So let's try getting the token metadata for maker. So I'm going to copy this maker contract address. There we go. And if I go back here and put in the, let's basically chain is correct, ETH. Okay, now the address is maker. And let's copy the curl command, open up my terminal again. Let's clear this out. There we go. So now we basically got the data about maker token. So as you see, we've got the address label, and here you see the categories, stablecoin governance. That's what we're using in order to show this in our UI. You can see all the links. You've got the Reddit, Twitter, website, Slack, etc. Whatever links which MakerDAO has got. You can see the description, circulating supply, market cap. So that's what's powering all this data. You can see the liquidity, FDV, price, and everything else. So actually price is coming from our pair stats API. So I'll show you that as well. But essentially getting this whole section is coming straight from our token metadata API. So if you're going to get this data for Solana, you would need to check out the Solana metadata endpoint. So you just click on Solana API, click on API reference token, and get token metadata. So once you're in get token metadata, here's where you can actually get the token metadata for Solana tokens. So let's try this out for some Solana token. I'm going to put in like Trump, and let's see. Okay, we're again in the wrong. So confusing. So let's, okay, go back to 3000. There we go. Let's go back to Solana, and now we can click on Trump and it's loading. There you go. So this has got just its Telegram apparently, but probably let's try looking for a more prominent Solana token, I would say. So I'm just going to sort this whole thing by market cap. Let's go to Jupiter actually. Yeah. So now if you go to Jupiter, there you go. You get the links to Jupiter. Let's see, Fartcoin. You can see the link. Okay, here you go. You got the website, Telegram and stuff for this particular token. So let's try retrieving the metadata for this. So I'm just going to copy the address and get to the token metadata, Solana API. So right now we are in the Solana API, which you can see from here. It's hitting the Solana endpoint, and you can just put in the mainnet address, and let's go back here. Paste the address. There you go. And now you can just test live API right from the browser. And if you look at the response, there we go. So you've got Fartcoin. You can see the logo. You can see all of the links which Fartcoin has, etc., which is perfect when we want to show this stuff in our UI. And that's what we basically just saw. So you have the token metadata endpoint to get all of these metadata stuff for Solana. So coming back to our maker token, I'm going to go back. There we go. So this is our maker token. So probably it's better if we have two separate tabs so I can show you both EVM and Solana at the same time. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to keep this open as well. So we have two pages open with the stats, with all of the transactions, etc. So now what we're going to do is we are going to see how you can get all of this data. So all this data is going to come from the pair stats API. So for accessing the pair stats API, you can click on this and go to token API. Let's go into EVM first. So let's go step by step, EVM. And before we go into the pair stats, I'm going to show you how you can get all the pair addresses for this particular token, because right now you're in this page and all this page knows is just the token address, which means we're going to be fetching all the pairs. That's what you see right here. And we're going to use the pair with the highest liquidity on the top, which is 20.25 million here. And that pair's pair address is what is used to get all the stats. So what you're seeing right here is showing you stats for this particular pair. So to first understand the pairs, let's use the get token pairs API. And once you're here, let's go into pairs and liquidity and get token pairs by address. So this is the endpoint which you need to use if you want to get the token pairs for a given token address. So I'm just going to put in the maker token. So I've right here, I'm going to put in the token address. I've got ETH, and when you hit test live API, you will be able to see all the pairs of maker token. So what you see right here is the exchange address, the exchange name. So you get whole comprehensive data about the pair. So you can see liquidity USD, whether it's an inactive pair. Sometimes if you have a pump fund token, initially it's trading in the pump fund pair and then it migrates to radium, which means the pump fund pair is going to become inactive. So whenever there's like inactive pair, you're going to see that as well. Then you have the base token, code token that we see. And finally the pair details. So if you look at this, the first pair is the one with the highest liquidity. You can see the pair address here. You can see how much liquidity is here. So if you go into liquidity USD, 20 million around, and this is the pair itself. So you can see how much liquidity is there on both sides of the pair as well, how much tokens are there. So that's what you see right here, and you get all the pairs. So we are essentially getting all the pairs and using that to show this drop down. So if you want to get the same thing on Solana, you can just click on explore Solana API. And there we go. So now you're basically on token pairs by address for Solana. And let's actually copy the address of this Solana token, which I have here, Fartcoin. And I'm just going to take this. I'm going to go to token pairs by address, put this in here, and let's test live API. All right. So now you can basically see we've got all the pairs that are trading our Fartcoin token. You can basically see the liquidity, you can see the pair. Essentially everything we saw on EVM, you're going to get all of that stats, all the data for Solana as well. So now that we have the pair address, we will be able to get the pair stats. So the pair stats is what lets us create this kind of a UI where you can see the transactions, buy, sell, volume, makers, etc. And for this, let's actually see what API you need. Right now I'm on EVM, so I'm going to go to get token pair stats. But before that, let's copy the pair address. So I have the pair address right here. And let's go into token pair stats and paste in the pair address here. So now that I've pasted the pair address here, if we were to actually just hit the test live API, there you go. So now you've got the pair stats for this particular pair. And if you look closely at this, you can see this is the maker token. You can see the token logo. You can see when this pair was created, the pair label, all of that data. You can also see the price percent change, the liquidity percent change, etc. So this is what's being used to create this. When you click on these things, it's actually changing the UI on the bottom to show you those things. And if you look at this, the transactions is equal to number of buys plus sells, the buyers plus sellers. You can see makers. Makers is actually buyers plus sellers. You see both here, transactions, buys and sells. Similarly for volume, you have buy volume, sell volume. So you can see all these stats in this comprehensive UI, and that makes it super easy to get all of this data for your particular DEX terminal and your token. So now that we have basically gotten all seen how you can get the pair stats on EVM, let's actually see how you can get this on Solana. So I'm just going to hit explore Solana API again. And if you're here, there you go. So now we basically put in the pair address of Fartcoin, and Let's see the pair stats for this. So, okay, this is the one. So you can see that the API is slightly different. You're hitting a different endpoint for getting the pair stats on EVM and for Solana. But however, the response structure kind of remains the same. So if you were to test live API here, there you go. You get data about the token address, the pair label, the pair address, the exchange address, the logos, etc. And that's what lets us actually get the logo here. So you can see I've got the logo of Radium here, which is showing us the token is on Radium. And if you go down, you can see like Orca, Whirlpool, Meteora, all of that. So you can essentially get all the exchanges where the token is trading. So that's on the token pair stats. So now that we have covered the token pair stats and the token metadata and the chart, we are essentially kind of good to go in terms of this particular side of the menu, because we have also covered the token pairs by address. That's the endpoint you use in order to get this data. So coming down to transactions, I'll be showing you the endpoint which will let you get the transactions on both EVM and Solana. And the endpoint that we use for getting the transactions is actually get token swaps. So if you go into swaps, you're going to go into get swaps by pair address. And this is the endpoint that's going to retrieve all of the swaps by pair address for EVM token right here. So if you want to test this out, I'm going to open up MKR token again, copy the pair address, go back to swaps by pair, and let's put in the pair address right here. And now we're here. If you hit test live API, there you go. So now we're getting all the swaps, and our front end actually keeps polling in real time so that you get the latest swaps over here. So whenever there's a new swap happening, you will get the latest swaps here. You will see the price, maker, transaction, all of that data straight from this. So this is the API that we use for getting all the token swaps. And if you look closely, it's going to give us the data about the type, the USD value, how much was the maker token involved, how much was WETH, because this is right now in the MKR WETH pool, and the price as well. So right now the price is 1479, which and this was bought 7 minutes ago for 1480. You can see the maker address. And if you click on this, it's going to go straight to the transaction where the buy just happened. So this is what you see right here. And you can see apparently this was done by some MEV bot that bought it. So yeah, I'm going to show you how you can build this. But essentially with this, you're basically getting all this data from this endpoint. And you get all the transaction hashes with this URL as well, which means it's perfect for you to just take this particular hash and redirect it to your particular block explorer depending on the chain. So that's how you can retrieve the transactions. Similarly for Solana, you can access the Solana swaps by just clicking on that. So once we're here in swaps by pair address for Solana, let's go into our Fartcoin, copy the pair address, and let's try this out. So now I'm here, I'm going to put this in, and let's hit test live API. All right, so now we have basically gotten all the swaps for our Solana token, so which is Fartcoin, and you can see right here all the transactions. You get details on if it's a sell, the partial sell, what's the wallet address. In case it's tied to an entity, you will find entity information as well, and you can find out like block timestamp, subcategories, etc. So the swaps data is what is giving us all of this. So you can see right here, we have gotten a swap 25 seconds ago. If you click on this, you will be able to go and see the swap actually. So if you look at this, there we go. So this is the swap that was just performed. So this is how you can actually retrieve all the transactions for a given token. So on Solana, we don't have holders yet because it's still yet to be shipped, but it should be out soon. But on EVM, we do have holders API. So I'm going to show you the holders API. But before that, let's actually go to snipers because that's common between EVM and Solana. So for snipers, I'm going to show you the endpoint that we use. So let's see if Fartcoin has snipers. I'm going to click on this and there we go. So you can basically see all the snipers that bought Fartcoin. You can see the wallet address, when it bought, how much it bought for USD, how much it sold, and how much it profited as well. Looks like this bot has made like a huge chunk of profit, 487%. It's pretty good. So coming to how you can get the snipers data, you can basically head over to token API. Now let's just go to EVM first and go to token. and get token snipers. There we go. So now you can get the snipers by pair address. So if we are in this particular page, actually I'm not sure if MakerDAO has snipers on this pair. Okay, they do. So now we're here. Let's actually try verifying the snipers on this particular token. So let's copy the pair address on this pair, for this pair, and let's go to snipers by pair address, and let's put in this. You can set a threshold up to which number of blocks you want to consider for sniper activity. I'm just going to put in 10, and let's see if we have sniper activity by default for 10. So it doesn't have it. So I believe this is showing us the sniper activity in the first 100 tokens. So let's probably check on the first 100 tokens. All right. So it doesn't seem to have. Let's see if we have put in the correct pair address. All right. Let's just ensure it once. All right. Okay. Then let's try for 1000. So if I try this for 1000, there you go. So now it's basically showing you the snipers by pair address, and it's actually using 1000 in the front end as well. So it's showing you the snipers within the first 1000 blocks. Essentially, the sniper bots, etc., that bought in the first 1000 blocks is what you see data right here for. So if we look at our EVM snipers, you can see we get the block number, you can see the transaction hash, and you can see the wallet address that actually sniped. You can see the snipe transactions and also the sell transactions, which means we're going to find out how many sells, how many snipes. So you can see buys are 2, 7 is sells. So this is coming from our API response. And you can also see how much was the profit made by that particular sniper bot. And if you want to check the wallet out, these are all again linking to the Explorer. So you can just click on that and it's going to take you straight to the Explorer where you can actually check it out as well. So that's on snipers for EVM. So now let's go to snipers for Solana. So it looks like Fartcoin also does have snipers. So let's basically click on Explore Solana API to go to snipers for this Solana token. So now that I'm on this snipers by pair address on Solana, let's click on a particular token. So we're here, and yep, where were we? All right, so we just need to copy the pair address again. So let's go back to snipers by pair address. Let's put this in here and let's ensure it's on 1000. And now if you hit test live API, there we go. You get all of the snipe transactions. You can find out how much transactions has this bot made, how much have they profited, etc. So looks like this doesn't have anything. Let's see. Okay, so this is bought, but it's not yet sold. Let's see some more stuff. All right, so essentially I'm not able to. Okay, here you go. So this has sniped 6 times, but it has sold 47 times, which means it's such a slow seller. Like it's been selling very slowly, and has actually made like a chunk of profit. So that's what you see right here. And this is the snipers by pair address endpoint, which we're going to be integrating for getting all the snipers. So that's how you can essentially fetch all the snipers data for both EVM and Solana tokens. So now that we have snipers finished, let's head over to our EVM page because we have got holders here. And our holders endpoint essentially lets you get the holders for our particular token. And in case the holders are entities, you will also be able to get all of that. So that's what you see right here. You can see like the wallet, the entity, how much it's holding, how much is the percentage of supply it's controlling, etc. And coming to our holders endpoints, let's go to EVM API. Let's go into token API and token holders. So if you're in token holders, you can see we have got token holders stats, and token holders time series. So if you've visited moralis.com and if you try clicking on some token, let's basically try, let me just click on Coinbase BTC. So this is going to show you like the holders over here. So this holders chart. So if you want to build this kind of a holders chart, you're going to be needing to use the that holders time series endpoint in order to get the time series holders. And coming to our thing, we're going to use the token holders in order to get a list of holders, supply, etc. So coming to our thing again. Here we are. So we can see wallet, the entity, the type, the balance, etc. So you can see the maker governance contract actually controls 23% of the supply, and it's a contract you see right here. So if you want to see the holders for this, let's actually copy the address of maker and let's go into our token holders endpoint and let's actually try this out. There we go. So now that we have basically called this API, you can see all the holders of this token. You can see the result, you can see the balance, you can see how much is the percentage relative to total supply that it's controlling. And if it's an entity, you get data about the entity as well. Like this is the maker governance, this is Binance, essentially all of that, which is perfect. So that's how you can use the holders endpoint to fetch all these holders. And if you want to view this on the Explorer, it's going to view this, open the Explorer with this particular contract. So what you see right here is the Sky governance contract right here. So apart from holders, we also have holders insights. Holders insights lets you actually analyze the token because you are now going to be able to compute the holders trend. So if you go up, you can see this is the maker token. We're going to be able to see the holders change across various time frames. You can see the supply distribution. You can also see the holder acquisition, which means you can be able to tell how the holders were acquired for this token. So that's what we see. You have swap, you have transfer, you have airdrop, etc., which shows you all of this. And coming to how you can get this data to show these kind of charts, it's basically with our token holder stats endpoint. So using our token holder stats endpoint, I'll actually show it to you in action. I'm going to copy the maker token. Let's go here to our token holder stats. Let's put this token address here and let's test live API. There you go. So now you've basically got holders. Totally is this many, around 10660. And then you have holders by acquisition, swap, transfer, airdrop. And that's what we use to actually create this particular chart. So as you see, we have transfer being the most reason why holders are there because they have received it from some wallet or the other. Airdrop, again 2400 wallets for airdrop, and swap, actually people swapped in order to get this particular token. Coming to holders change, this is what is used in order to create this holders trend, which means across various time frames you're going to be able to get the changes. So that's what we see here. You can see 5 minutes, you can see 1 hour, what's the changes in holders along with change percentage as well. So that's what we see on the holders trend. And coming to supply distribution, this tells you how much percentage of the token supply is controlled by the top holders. So the top 10 holders control only 51% of the supply, which is actually good because you would ideally not want your token to be controlled by just the top 10 holders or something. So a good distribution would look something like this, where you have various holders. And coming to that holder supply, this is what gives you that response as well. You can see the top 10, you can see the top 25, 50, etc. And this is what we use in order to create these kind of cool looking charts, which we're doing with chart.js. So before we go into the implementation of all this, I just wanted to show you all of the APIs. So it looks like now we have covered all of the APIs in depth, such as snipers, transactions, holders, holder insights. We have got the token pair stats, we have got the token metadata, we have got the token pairs by address, and we have seen how you can get the embed chart code for this. And you can actually even customize this to make it look even more tuned for your UI. So that's essentially how you can get all of this data and actually use this to build a DEX terminal. So coming to the next step is, let's actually start implementing this at the code level. So we're going to go back to our code and we're going to see how we can create all the components that are necessary for creating this token page. So let's get started. All right, so to start with, let's basically start with getting the creating a component for actually displaying the chart. So let's basically head over to our code base. And once you're here, we're going to put in all the code for our particular token page right here in this token section. So I'm going to start with creating a component called token chart. So this token chart is actually going to be responsible for showing us the chart embed of moralis.com. So now that I've created the token chart component, let me basically add the code for this. All right. So now that we have basically added the code, if you try to understand what's happening here, is it's going to be calling the load widget. So if you look at the code base of the embed code, so let's go into Moralis and let's go into embed chart. So if you look at this, you would actually understand it better because the embed code actually has it right here. So if you switch to React, you can see that we have a load widget function that is basically going to call the script, and it's going to get this particular it's basically going to get call the script, and it's going to get the code for this complete chart. So that's what is actually happening right here as well. So we have got all the time frames, etc. We have got the widget code here, and you can see this is where it's making the call. This is the URL chart.js, etc. And once it's basically made that call, we will have our token chart in place. So coming to the next component that we basically need is we would require a token info component, and this is basically going to show all the things like the metadata, etc. So I'm just going to close one of these so it's easier for us. All right, so this token this particular thing is what's going to show us all the things like the token info, like the token name, symbol, website, Twitter, Telegram, etc. So I'm going to create the token info component, and let's basically come back to our code base, and I'm going to name this token info.js. All right, so now we have done that, and this is the token info component. So if you look at what's actually over here, let's go through it a bit because there's a lot of stuff in this. The first thing it's actually doing is it's fetching the token metadata, and if you look at what it's receiving in props, it's receiving the token, the pair, the chain ID. The time frame is actually not used, so you could just remove it because it's not needed actually. So I'm just going to keep it for now, but yeah. So coming to our block explorers, these are the URLs, the base URLs of all the explorers. Then you can see right here that we have the fetch token metadata. That's where the token metadata API is called, and you have the fetch pair stats here. So you receive the pair address here because as soon as the token page is loaded, we make an API call to get the token pairs in the use effect of it, which I will be showing you, and we're going to use that pair address in order to get the stats now. So once we have got the stats, we are basically handling that. We are doing some basic formatting in order to make it look better. And if you look at this, this is basically formatting the token price as well, just some formatting stuff. And yep, these are all formatting. And this is basically where it is. You get the time period data. So this is actually going to use the pair stats API, and it's going to get the time period per time period data for that particular thing. So if you look at this, so if you were to put 5 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, 24 hour, etc., you can see the stuff is basically changing below. And how this is changing is it's actually just one call. It's just one API call to get all this data. But if you want to alternate between these frames, we're going to create a function that's returning us all the values for it. So I'm just refreshing this. So now if we try it out, there you go. You get the latest transactions, etc. So that's on the get time period data function, and that's going to actually retrieve that by looking the API response of the pair stats API. So if you remember earlier, our pair stats API was basically right here. You have the get token pair stats, and it looks like this. You have the buys, sells, buyers, sellers, etc. And if you look at some fields, it's going to be a sum of both. So if you look, we have total volume, we have buyers, we have sellers, buy, sells, price change, and all of that is basically rendered right here. So you can basically see we've got the tokens info, you've got the token logo, the name, symbol. In case there's categories, like in EVM right now we have categories which will be expanding to Solana as well. You will be able to get all the categories as well, and below that you can basically see the price info for the token. So this is basically showing you the token price in code token as well as the USD price, and this is also coming from our pair stats response. If you look at this, you can see we are getting the current USD price and current native price. So we are basically formatting this in order to show it like USD or ETH or with a dollar symbol, etc. So coming to liquidity and volume, this is where we get the response again from our API, pair stats API. We get the FDV and market cap here. So let me see. Okay, actually we get the FTV and market cap from the metadata endpoint, not the pair stats. So if you were to go here, you can basically, let's say, test live API with the maker token. So let's just copy the maker token address, and I'm going to go here, put in the address right here, and let's hit test live API. So if I hit test live API, we should be able to get the token metadata for this particular thing. And as you see, you can get the fully diluted valuation. You can also get the market cap and circulating supply here. So perfect. This is how we essentially get all of this data. And that's what we're actually doing right here as well, just formatting that. And these are some available time periods which we are doing to style that stats grid. So you've got the buys section, you've got the sells, you've got the volumes. Makers is essentially nothing but buyers plus sellers. That's what you see right here, etc. And finally the pair details. So when you scroll to the bottom, you can basically see stuff like when this pair was created, how much is the pooled MKR in the pair, how much is pooled wrapped ether in the pair, and the addresses, etc. as well. So that's what you see right here. You can see the pair address with copy and explored links. So you can see the pair address, the token address, the code token address, etc. All of these are links with explorers. So you can directly copy and go straight to that page. So what we implemented right now was just this entire token info component. So now we have basically done the chart, and we have also done the token info component. So what we can go with next is, let's basically go into the token transactions component. So for the token transactions component, we're going to be making an API call to the transactions endpoint to do that. So like I showed you earlier, we have a separate transactions endpoint for both EVM and Solana. So the API is going to be handling it for both of those. And that's the same as it is for token info as well. So if you scroll up, you will be able to see where the API call is happening. So this is the API call for the metadata, and this is the API call for getting the pair stats. So if it's Solana, it's calling this. If it's EVM, it's calling this. And you get the response, and it's all recorded into our stats state variables. So you have it on pair stats, you have the token metadata here, etc. So this is what is basically the token info component. And now we can head over to our token transactions component. So I'm going to show you the token transactions component, and I'm going to show you what's happening here. So if you look at what's happening here is, again, within use effect, we're going to be making we have a polling interval, and we're going to poll every 10 seconds to the API endpoint. So if you look at the API endpoint right here, it's fetch new transactions. If it's Solana, it's calling our Solana swaps endpoint. Otherwise, it's calling EVM swaps, and it's going to get all the latest swaps for the given pair address. So the pair address is basically passed directly into this particular component because it's receiving it as props. So you can see it right here. And with this particular pair address, it's fetching all of the transactions. And once all the transactions are received, you have colors and stuff, which we're doing right here in order to add red, green, etc. And we also have like that animation, that cool looking animation, which you can add in order to show a latest swap coming in. So if you look at this, we've got all of the token transactions, and we're aligning them within a tabular format. And in this table, we basically have each row as the swap data itself. So the row basically is highlighted in the colors depending on our things. And as you see here, you can see the base token value, the code token value, the price at which the swap happened, and you can also see whether it's a new swap, etc. So if you look at this, you can see this is how it looks. It's got all the details we need along with the maker. So this is the person who bought or sold, and links to the transaction. So that's how you can use the transactions API to create the transactions part. So now we can basically head over to snipers. So I'm going to create a component here called token snipers.js, and this is going to contain a similar tabular format thing for getting all the snipers data. So let's put in the snipers. And if you look at this, this is again going to be making an API call to our EVM or Solana endpoint depending on the token pair. And if you look at this, it's again going to fetch the token pair token snipers, and this is where it's fetching it, and it's going to show it in the tabular format along with some formatting in order to ensure you have explorer URLs and all of that. So that's what we have right here. You've got all the explorer base URLs here as well, which makes it perfect so that when you're on the snipers tab, you can directly see the snipers, and if you click on something here, you can go directly to their address itself. So that's how we're showing all of this. And these values, the bot, sold, profit, we're getting it all straight from our snipers endpoint itself. So if you look at the token snipers by pair address, you can run this, and there you go. So you can see we get the sell transactions, how much snipe transactions, how much tokens were sniped, and what's the USD profit, how much is the current balance, etc. And that's what we're actually showing right here in this API response as well. So that's how you can integrate the snipers endpoint in order to get all of the snipers data. So the next thing is to actually create the holders, and we're going to do the same format just like how we have the tabular format for snipers and the token transactions. We're going to create one for token holders as well. So I'm just going to create token holders.js. All right, so now we have created token holders.js, and I'm going to put in the code for holders as well. So there we go. So now if you look at what's actually happening in token holders, we are making a API call to the holders endpoint, which I mentioned earlier. And again, if you want to quickly refer what are the APIs you need for specific things, check out the README. And if you go here, you can see this is the token holder stats, and this takes you straight to the API docs, which is kind of perfect. So be sure to check out this if you want to know what API is used. And if you go back to our token holders, that's the endpoint we use for getting all the holders. And we are basically showing all the stuff like whether it's a contract or not, whether if an entity is present, it's going to contain the name of the entity along with the explorer URLs and percentage supply. So we get all of this straight through our response. So if you want to see the response just as an example, you have the balance formatted, whether it's a contract, the owner address, and in case it's basically an entity, you see Lido and stuff like that. So you see Binance, etc. right here. And you can see logos as well, Binance 14, Kraken, all of that. So that's how you can essentially use the holders endpoint in order to get all of the holders. And that's basically what we're doing. We have a load more button that's going to load more holders. If you want to load, it's going to paginate, etc. So that's what we just saw right now. We have covered all of the holders. And the next step for us is to actually look at creating the holder insights. And the holder insights are actually the cool part, because you get to build these charts with all this data, giving you a perfect view on your holders for your token. So for the holders insights, what you can do is you can just click on get ERC20 token holder stats. And as we saw earlier, this is the endpoint that we're going to be integrating to get the token holder insights part done. So let's create another component for token holder insights. So I'm just going to create a component called token holder insights. .js, and we're set. And within this, I'm going to put in the code now for the token holder insights. And you can basically see what's the chart and stuff being used. So this is making a call, API call, as I showed earlier, to the holder stats endpoint. And this holder stats endpoint is actually giving you all the data related to, let's say, top supply, top holders, and the supply they control, and the holders acquisition and the holders trends, etc. So we're basically using this data in order to create this kind of a UI and chart. And for the charts, we're actually using the chart.js library. That's what you see right here. We're importing the donut chart, and we're importing the bunch of other elements which we are using for building those charts. So you can see right here, these are the cards which are necessary for us. So we are calculating the percentages for acquisition. And over here, you can see the supply distribution card. So the supply distribution card is actually going to give you how much is the supply distribution across the total supply, and holders acquisition is the donut chart showing you all of the holders and all the acquisition methods. So if you look at it, it's going to look something like this. You can see swap is only 7%, transfer is 90%, airdrop is 2.4%, and you can also get the chart showing you all this data. So coming to how you can actually implement this, we just saw how you can use the holder insights endpoint and the chart.js library in order to get all of the data and use the relevant charts in order to actually showcase it in that particular metric. And apart from that, we just have some basic utility functions here. You see format percentage, etc., format USD, etc., just to show the relevant dollars, symbols, or things like that. So that's on the holders insights. So now it looks like we're kind of set because we have done the transactions, we have done holders, holder insights, snipers. We've also covered the token info part. So looks like this part is pending. We have to do the token pair selector drop down. So let's do that one next, because in our pair selector drop down, we're going to show all the pairs and we're going to let them switch between the pairs. And whenever that pair selector is called, is changed, whenever the pair selector is changed, we've got to propagate it across our components so that the page refreshes. So let me create the pair selector component right here. Pair selector.js, and let me put in the code for the pair selector. There we go. So now if you look at this, you can see right here that this is the pair selector component. It's going to get all the pairs straight from the token page section, because that's where we're going to call the token pairs endpoint, token pairs by address, and all of it is received as props to this. So which means that the job of this particular component is just to show you the drop down with all of the pair addresses possible. And when you click on this, it's going to change the chart, it's going to change the transactions, also the token info. So what you're seeing now is the info for this particular pair. So that's essentially how you can create that pair selector component in order to get all of this data. And this is just some stuff we're formatting in order to show it in this kind of format: the logo, the symbol pair, the pair symbols, the liquidity, and the exchange as well. So that's how you can do that. If you switch to something else, you can basically see the pair address change as well. So you can see DF3D, and now if you go back on top, you can see E531. So that's essentially on the pair selector component. So coming to our next thing, looks like we have covered almost everything, but yeah, we have got to create these token tabs. So this kind of a tab menu. So let's create a token tabs component as well. That's job is just to switch between various tabs. So let's just create a token tabs.js. It's going to show the component according to what tab the user is currently active in. So let me paste the code for the token tabs. Here we go. And if you look at this, we have everything right here. You can see the transactions tab. You can see holders insights, and snipers. And we're going to show this only if it's EVM, because our endpoint just gives us the holders on EVM, but Solana is coming soon. So when Solana is out, you will be able to just modify this, and you can have token holders on Solana as well. So now that we have created the token tabs component all set, the next step would be to actually check if we have everything in place, because we have got the chart, we have got the pair selector, token chart, holders, info, transactions tab, etc. So now what we can actually do is just create the token page itself within pages. So let's go into pages and let's create our token page. So I'm going to create token page.js here. Alright, so now that we've created token page.js, let's paste the code for token page. Alright. Alright, as you can see, we have pasted the code for the token page, and now let's try understanding what's actually happening here. And if you look at this, the token page is just importing various components that we have already defined. And what it's doing is it's going to make it more aligned in terms of in this page, you want to show the chart on the top, you want to show the transaction tabs, the tabs on the bottom, the token info on the right, and the pair selector on top. So that structure is actually defined here. So if you go down into the return, you will be able to see it here. You can see the left side is the chart section, right side is the info, and then you have the tabs, and then you have the content. Based on the active tab, we're showing the active content over there. And coming to the API I was mentioning earlier, right when the token page is loaded, we want to call the token pairs by address endpoint, which is basically this one, get pairs and liquidity, and this one. So this is going to give you all of the pairs, and that's what we're actually calling in useEffect here. So as you see, we are calling the pairs endpoint, getting all the pairs and propagating it to all of the child components. The child components were the ones we already defined right here, as you see. And this is basically going to let us create our token page. And this is some styling which is already there, I've put in. It's basically using Tailwind CSS and stuff to just format the UI to look according to how we want it to. So coming back to our application, which is running on 3001, I think we're kind of, we are still yet to add the routes. So let's go into app.js, because now we have got to update app.js with the routes for our token page. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, yep, there we go. I'm going to just comment this and keep it for a while, because we're going to need this again. So now that we have this here, all right, we need to import the token page component. So let's do that. There we go. So now we have got the token page and we should be set. That's it. So now if you go back to our code, let's go into our 3001. This is the one which we were building, and you can see all of the trending tokens. And now let's try clicking on a token. I'm going to try clicking on this, and you can see the loader, and there you go. So we have got all of the token page components. You can see the transactions, you can see the snipers for Trump token, you can see all the pair stats, the websites, etc., and the pairs. When you switch a pair, everything's going to change again. And the reason why everything changes is because we have defined our pair address on useEffect as a parameter on useEffect. So it basically reloads whenever you're changing the pair address itself. So that's, looks like this pair doesn't have any snipers though. So if we go back to that pair, we had snipers on that pair. So that's it on the token. Oh yeah, we should check out the EVM snipers as well. So I'm going to go into Ethereum and let's try looking at a EVM token page basically. So I'm going to click on Aave token, and there we go. So now we have got the token page for Aave. And if you look at this, we have got all the charts. You can see the transactions, you can see the holders. So now you can actually see who's holding Aave. You can see Binance, Aave contract, ecosystem, OKX, hot wallet, etc. Holders insight shows you like all the insights on the top holders. You can see this particular Aave token, a lot of people received it by transfer, many people swapped, and you can see airdrop as well. And all this data is coming from a holder stats endpoint, etc. So now that we have our whole token page in place, we can basically move on to, okay, looks like this Aave does not have any snipers in the first 1000 blocks. So that's why we don't see anything here. So now that we have basically built the token page and the trending page, we have basically covered the major part of it, because now if you click on Ethereum, you get all of the tokens for Avalanche, etc. So essentially with this, we can move on to the next one, which is basically to create the pump fund tokens. So let's look at creating the pump fund tokens for our application. So essentially now we have search as well. So you will be able to search for any tokens you want. So let's try searching for, let's say, I'm just going to try searching Trump. There we go. So now you've got Trump. Now let's basically try searching for wrap Bitcoin. There we go. So that's essentially the search API as well, which we had integrated earlier while building the trending page. In case we did not cover that, I'm just showing you that now so that you can see it's using the search API. We have also got the tokens, trending tokens here, and the relevant token pages and the filtered tokens as well. So you can also sort, which we have also verified, and filters is going to actually run the filtered tokens API in order to get the list of filtered tokens. So that's what you see right here, and we have basically completed all these parts of it. So the next thing is to actually check out the pump fund token page. So I'm going to show you how it looks. So if you click on pump fund tokens, this is actually really cool because it's like a stream of pump fund tokens. As they basically get created, you will be able to see all the pump fund tokens here. You can see the ones which are bonding. You can also see the ones which have graduated, etc. And then you can basically just click on this and you get the charts, all the stats, holders, snipers, etc. for that particular token. So that's on the pump fund API. So let's look at what APIs are actually needed in order to build this particular pump fund UI. So to do this, I'm just going to open up the documentation again. So I'm just going to open up my Solana API Swagger because the pump fund APIs are yet to be added onto docs. So once it's here, you will be able to find it soon. By the time we have this out, you will be able to check it out in our docs itself with links in the description. I will link it. But for now, you can just use the Swagger as a reference to go and look at the pump fund APIs. So you can see it right here. This is going to retrieve all of the pump fund tokens which were just created. So newly created tokens are going to come here. And this is actually polling the API. So actually one thing we did forget was on the animations part, because I do notice we don't have the animations yet on our particular UI. So we need to be sure to add those animations onto our CSS as well. So coming back to our pump fund tokens, you have the newly created, you have the bonding and graduated. You have separate APIs for each of them in order to retrieve all of this. And you also have a separate API if you want to retrieve the progress on a particular token. So if you have, let's say, for a pump fund token, you're showing the bonding curve progress, you can also use the API endpoint in order to retrieve the bonding curve progress on that particular pump fund token as well. So now that we're here on the newly created tokens, let's basically look at our endpoint. So we are here, and to try this out, you need to authorize this with your API key, which you obtained from Moralis at the beginning. And once you have done that, let's basically hit try it out. And now for the exchange, you need to put in the value as pump fund. And now if you hit execute, it's going to return all the results. And there you go. So now you can basically see the result, the token address, you can see the name, symbol, logo, price, the liquidity, etc. And that's basically the data that we're using in order to show all of these new tokens that were created on pump fund. And coming to the bonding token, so let's again try this bonding token API out here. So I'm going to put in pump fund here, and we have everything else defined. So let's put in the pump fund token, and there we go. So now if you look at this, you have got the result which contains the token address. You can see the name, symbol, logo, and you also get the bonding curve progress in this endpoint directly, which you don't get in this one in the new tokens, because they just were created and they're going to have the progress is 0. So once it's created, if you want to check the progress, you have a separate endpoint, which I'll show you as well, in order to get the bonding curve progress. So this is what we're using in order to show this kind of a UI. You can see the logo, name, symbol, the price, how much liquidity is present, and FDV and progress in terms of reaching its bonding curve level. So that's what you see on the bonding tokens. And the next thing is basically going to be on the graduated tokens. So we have an endpoint for getting the graduated tokens for pump fund. So you can just put in pump fund again here, and you're going to get all the details for this pump fund token. And if you want further details, just click on any of these tokens. It's going to load the token data. And in case it's got a website, all of that, you will retrieve it here. And you can see all these things for that particular endpoint. If there's snipers on this endpoint pair, you will find that as well. So that's on our pump fund. So let's go back to our graduated. And let's define this as pump fund. If you hit execute, so these are all the graduated pump fund tokens. You can see the time at which they were graduated. You can get all of this data along with it. So this is perfect when you want to show all the pump fund tokens in your DEX terminal, because pump fund tokens are really getting popular these days in terms of create the ability to just create and launch tokens instantly. So that's what we see right. That's what we just saw right now. You have newly created, you have the bonding tokens and the graduated tokens. So let's start creating this component in our application. So for doing this, I'm gonna go back to our code base, and let's basically create a pumpfun.js component. So let's just go into our pumpfun. All right, this is where it is. So I'm going to create these cards. So I'm just going to name this, let's say, new token card.js. So we're going to have the card components here. So this basically defines how the cards look, how the new token card looks, how the graduated token card looks, and how the bonding token card looks. So let's just define all of these here. All right, we've got the bonding token card, and now let's also add the graduated token card to this. All right, there we go. So now that we have defined this, we've got to put in the code for the components. So I'm just going to paste the new token card here. So as you see right here, this is the a new token. This is how it's going to look like. It's got a green border, it's got all of this. This one's got a blue border, this one's got a purple border. So we're following this kind of design. So that's what you see right here in the new token card as well. So now coming to our graduated token card. So I'm going to put in the code for that. So we've got the just similar styling. We're using the it's going to receive all the card info from the props. So we're going to be able to just take that and populate it through this. And finally, you have the bonding token card. So let's go back to our bonding token card, and this is how it looks. And the bonding token card has the bonding progress bar. That's what you see right here. So this is perfect when you want to kind of show what's the bonding progress for these tokens. So that's essentially, we have created the cards for each of them. And now we have got to create the token page, pump fun page for this. So let's go into pages, and let's actually create a pump fun page.js. All right, so now we have created the pump fun page.js, and I'm going to put in the code here. And this is where we're going to be making the API calls to the pump fun API I showed you. So here you go, you got fetch new tokens. It's making an API call to this particular endpoint, which is basically this one, to get all of the latest pump fun tokens, which we saw, the new /new. And then you basically have the bonding tokens, which is going to make an API call to /bonding. And you also have graduated. So once you have received all of this, let's just close this. So once you have received all of this, we're going to propagate this through our cards components, and you have created the columns here. So these are the columns, and each column is going to render all the cards. So that's what you see right here. We are mapping all the new tokens into a new token card, and that's going to show you all of these columns. So now if you want to actually view this out, we should be able to add this to the routes. Let's open up this pump fun. Okay, let's actually just uncomment this first, and I'll just comment this. All right, so now we have got pump fun page. Okay, we've got to import the pump fun page as well. So let's just go here. There you go. So we have imported the pump fun page as well for our particular token. So if we go back to our localhost 3001, our application, oh yeah, we should add the animation as well. So I'm just going to quickly add the animation. Let's go into index.css and put in a bunch of keyframes. So I have it right here, and now I'm just going to go into this, and there you go. So I've put in a bunch of animate stuff, and we should be all set. Now it's running. So if we go back to our application we built now and go to pump fun tokens, there you go. So you can see the loader, and now you can see all the newly created tokens, graduated tokens, etc. So you can see this was just created 20 seconds ago and all of that. So that's how you can create this, and all of these link to the token page, because if you look at the cards, we should actually go into the card component. So I'm going to go into, let's say, the pump fund. Where is it? So there we go. So let's go into bonding token card, and if you go into this, you should be able to see the props over here on click. So it's receiving the on click URL right from here from the pump fund page. So if you look at the URL generation part here, so you will be able to see it right here. So as soon as we're getting the API response, we are setting the bonding tokens, and the URL generation is actually, let's see where the URL generation is happening, which should be happening handle token click. There you go. So since all of the pump fund tokens are on Solana, that's what you see right here. It's going to navigate the entire front end to /Solana/token, and that's going to take you straight to the token page of that token as well. So that's essentially how you can use the pump fund API in order to fetch all of these pump fund tokens. You can also switch between various time frames, so you can see all the charts, etc. So now we are done with the pump fund tokens as well. So you should be able to access it from this and everything. So we've got the animations for the transactions, I'm guessing, as well. So all the transactions would come in with all the animations, and we've also got the pump fund tokens. So the final part which is remaining for us is to create the portfolio. So I'm going to show you how the portfolio is going to look so you can understand what we're building. So if you look at this portfolio, it's going to have the ability to just add new wallet. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just storing all the wallets in local storage so that it just persists. But you could always integrate a database or anything if you want. And when you click on a particular token, it's making an API call. We have a net worth API that's going to give you the net worth in just one API call. And then we have a token balances endpoint, which is going to give you all the token balances. And once you have all of this, you can just click on any token and voila, you can go straight to the token page where you can see the chart, the holding, the data about the token, etc. And the best part is you can add as many wallets as you want. So you could just quickly add new wallets, click on any new token you got, and go check out the token page for that particular token. And at a glance, you also get the amount you have, value, portfolio percentage, and the 24-hour summary of it. So you can see this has gone up. ETH has actually gone up 6.4%. You can see all these tokens, and if you click on any token, you can see the chart for that token as well. So that's what you basically get with the portfolio page. So now let's actually explore the APIs necessary for creating the portfolio. So I'm just going to head over to Moralis docs, and if you're basically trying to build like a more enhanced version of the portfolio, you could obviously integrate NFTs and stuff, because we have got like the best NFT API that you can get. And to get like the portfolio for the token portfolio, you can just click on token API, and you can get the token balances. So with this token balances, you're going to retrieve all the token balances by wallet. And however, if you want to try to get the net worth, you can go to wallet API, and this is actually the perfect API for building wallets, because you could show wallet tokens, wallet NFTs, wallet DeFi positions, net worth, all of this straight from this particular straight from one UI itself. So coming to the APIs you need right now in this scenario, we're going to be using the net worth API. So the net worth API is going to give you the net worth of a wallet in just one API call. So you don't need to actually sum up, you don't need to paginate across various tokens, sum up all the values, try to calculate that in USD, etc. You just call this one endpoint and bam, you get straight net worth values for it. So as you see right here, we have queried the net worth of this wallet on ETH. This one's got like 14,000 USD on it. And if you look at this, the token balance USD, native balance, it's got most of it in native balance and only some of it in tokens. And you can also see the net worth in case you are adding more chains. So right here, if you want to add more chains onto this, you can just add ETH. Now let's add Polygon. Now let's add Base. Basically, you can go ahead and keep adding whatever chains you want. So I'm going to add Optimism. And now it's going to query your net worth and tell you the sum across all of these. So if you look at this wallet, it's 38,000 USD, and this is the net worth across each of these chains. And this is what we're actually showing right here, because when you click on a wallet, we're calling the net worth API, fetching the total net worth, and you also get the total net worth across each chain, which you see right here. So if you want to filter and view holdings on just one chain, you can just click, let's say ETH, and voila, now you're basically looking at the tokens on ETH, and clicking on this should take you straight to token page as well. So that's essentially on the token net worth endpoint, because that's how you can get this chain distribution breakdown as well as the total net worth. Coming to the token holdings, the endpoint that I've used right here to build the token holdings is the token balances. So you should go to get wallet token balances, and if you try out get native and ERC20 token balances, you will be able to actually use this endpoint and get all of the balances. So if you look at this, you can see you get the portfolio percentage straight with this. You can see the USD value, how much has the price changed over the past 24 hours, what's the formatted balance, the native balance without accounting for the decimals. All of this data is available in just one API call, and depending on what chain you're trying to query the net worth on, you will be able to just select that, and it's going to make an API call to retrieve all the tokens on that chain. So right now it just made an API call to get it on Pulse. So that's essentially how you can use the token balances and the net worth endpoint in order to build a really cool portfolio viewer for your tokens. And the best part is, since it's part of our terminal, you just click on this and it's going to take you straight to the chart of the token, etc. So this is the USDC chart, so that's why it looks like this. So that's basically it on the terminal. So let's basically go ahead and try it out for some other token on the portfolio as well. So I'm just gonna click on Zincoin. All right, so you can see all the pairs. You can see this one's got 1 million liquidity. You can see the stats across the pair, transactions, holders. So you can see Wormhole, Uniswap, Base, holders insights. So it looks like people have actually just bought this token. It seems to be a meme coin. And you can see the snipers in case there are. So coming back to our portfolio, let's start building this portfolio page. And yep, I'm gonna go and create the components. So for this, what we need to do is, we already have our portfolio folder created here. So within that portfolio, I'm just gonna add in the code for that. So we are gonna have the net worth card, which is essentially going to show us the net worth on top, which you see. So this is the component for showing the total net worth and the chain wise net worth. So now that we have created this net worth card, you can look at the return. You can see the total net worth. You can see the chain wise net worth as well, because we are mapping the chains and creating it in this component. So that's what you see in the net worth card. And the next thing is to actually create the wallet manager component. So if you come here, let's look at this. This is the wallet manager component where you can add a new wallet. So if you wanted to try this out, you can actually just, let's try adding a random wallet. So I'm going to go into this tokens page and I'm going to find a maker. So I'm going to take this person's address and let's go into our portfolio and let's add this one, random wallet. And what this is going to do is it's going to store this address in our local storage. And there you go. Now we have fetched the balance for this particular token. So looks like this doesn't actually have any balances. So yep. So that's, oh, it actually does have a lot of balances, I guess. Or yep. Okay, no, it doesn't. So the previous M5 has a lot of balance. So if you find another token or wallet address that you want to try it out, you can seamlessly add a new wallet, and this is the wallet manager component for it. So let's create the wallet manager component within the portfolio. So let's create wallet manager.js, and within wallet manager I'm going to be adding the code that ultimately lets you add a new wallet, delete a wallet, etc. And this is basically mainly going to be interfacing with our local storage, and it's going to be either adding or deleting a token from our storage. So that's on the wallet manager component. So coming to our next component we need is basically the token holdings. So I'm going to create a component called token holdings that's going to show all of the token holdings for a given wallet in the tabular format. So let's create token holdings.js, and if you paste the token holdings, there we go. So if you try to see what's actually happening here is all the API calls are going to be done in the parent component, which is going to be the portfolio, and it's just going to pass in all of the things as props to this particular component so that you can directly just render the token holdings in an easy way. So now that we have net worth, token holdings, and the wallet, if you look here, the next one's just the chain selector dropdown. So let's create the chain selector JS component. So I'm just going to add the chain selector .js here, and over here we're going to put in the chain selector component. So I've put in the chain selector component, and it's going to let you select from all of these chains and essentially view the holdings on that particular chain. So if you want to actually verify what's happening, you can just open this up on the network tab, and you can see what's the API calls that are going on. So now if you try to actually, let's say M4, and let's try to view this on ETH, there you go. This is the API that's actually being called. So you can see this is tokens chain equals set, and you get the response containing all of the tokens. So that's what we're showing right here as well in the response, and that's the drop down that we just integrated. So if you look at chain selector, we have already defined it, and it seems to be all good. So now I think we have all the components necessary, so we can go ahead and create the portfolio page for us. So I'm going to create a page called portfolio page here, and there you go. So now I'm going to put in the code for the portfolio page. Voila. So now we have put in the code for the portfolio page, and if you basically come here and check it out, the portfolio page is going to be taking all of the wallet manager, the net worth component, the chain selector, and the holdings, and it's going to align them all into just one particular thing, what you see right here. So if you look at this, what you see over here is the portfolio page, and let's see what's happening in use effect. It's fetching all the wallets from the local storage, and this is where the API calls happen. So net worth, this is going to hit the net worth endpoint, and the next is to get the token balances. It's going to hit the fetch wallet token balance endpoint, which we saw, and finally it's going to take all of this data and feed it onto all of the child components. So as you see, we've got the left column, which is the wallet management, and the right column, which is basically the a net worth display, etc. And that's basically it. So if you look at this, we've got the holdings, we've got the chain selector, we've got all of this. So now it looks good, and we should be able to go to our app.js and enable this. All right, so now let's also import this portfolio page. Now that we have imported it, it seems to be all set. And if we go back to our application now, let's close this because looks like we're almost done. So now we're here, and now let's click on portfolio. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a couple of wallets. So I'm going to copy those wallets from, I'm just going to take this one, and let's put this in test wallet, and let's put this in, click on add wallet. There you go. So now you've got the net worth of this particular wallet across all of these chains. And you can see, looks like for some reason we're facing an issue with getting the chain logos. Oh yeah, we've got to define all the chain logos onto your public static over here as chain images. I've not done that here, but I've done it on the other one. I will be leaving a link to the repo of that so that you can just replicate that or just clone it and try it out. But essentially you're going to get all the chain logos here. You will be able to switch between various chains. So if I go into optimism, it's going to fetch all the holdings on optimism, etc. If I'm on ETH, it's going to fetch the holdings on ETH. If you click on a token, it takes you straight to the token page. So that's essentially how you can integrate the wallet net worth API and the token balances endpoint in order to build like a really cool portfolio viewer for your particular token. So just to recap, if we want to cover what all features we went through, we started with building the trending tokens. So we started with building this trending token page, building the left menu, the top bar, and the tokens. We're using the trending tokens API to get all of this data. And for sorting, we're just sorting on this. But for filtering, we're using a filtered tokens endpoint, which lets you run a lot of complex queries in case you want to retrieve like tokens which match your criteria. And that's basically all the APIs on this particular page. And again, there's also the search. So if you're searching for, let's say, any token like helium or something like that, you can directly search and you get all of this. This seems to be flickering because again, we haven't defined the chain logos. But if you go to our localhost 3000, we will be able to see all of it right here. That's what you see. You can see the chain logos and all of that. So I'm going to try searching for, let's say, helium, and there you go. So you get all of the helium network token here. So this is using the search API in order to get all of the data. And finally comes the token page. So the token page contains the token chart, which we saw is the chart embed. This uses the token pairs by address API to get all of the token pairs by address. And this uses the combination of the token metadata and the token pair stats in order to give you this cool stats menu. And transactions, we have the transactions API giving you live transaction feed, and snipers gives you like all of the snipers addresses that basically bought into this token in the first 1,000 wallets, in the first 1,000 blocks. So you can basically check out the snipers API to do this. So now that we have covered all the Solana APIs on the token page, let's look at the EVM holders endpoints as well. So if I go into the Ondo token, you can basically see we have seen the transactions, the charts, these URLs, etc. You can also get the categories through the token metadata endpoint. And coming to holders, you're going to be using the holders endpoint to get all of this holders data that we saw. And holders insights is using the holder stats to create all of these cool looking charts. And snipers basically makes use of the snipers endpoint. In case there are snipers on your pair, it's going to show you all of that data as well. So that's it on the token page that we just saw. And next is the pump fund tokens. So the pump fund tokens uses the pump fund APIs, which you can find by going to Swagger at this URL. And the three endpoints that we just used were the new tokens by exchange, bonding tokens, and graduated. And we can also use the token bonding status in order to retrieve the status of a particular token. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to retrieve like a token which was created. Let's see if it's indexed. There we go. So now let's take this particular token address, NFA, and I'm going to see, okay, we need to pass the address over here. So I'm going to put in the address and let's hit execute. There you go. So looks like we might need to pass the pair address, I believe. Let's try pair address. All right, no, we need to actually just pass the bonding. Okay, the bonding status will actually be available only once it's gone into the bonding curve. So right now it's just created and nobody has actually bought it yet or put in any money yet. That's why you don't see the bonding status for this. But I'm guessing if we come into a token like this and get the token address for this, we should be able to get the bonding status on this. So I'm going to hit execute here. And there you go. So that's what we see. We get the bonding progress, which is 96%. And that's what is basically we see on the overall outer menu as well. So that's how you can use the pump fund APIs in order to get like the newly created bonding and graduated tokens, as you see right here. And we have seen all the APIs that let you do that. And finally, coming to the portfolio, Using the portfolio, we made use of the total net worth API and the token balances endpoint in order to get all of this. And these wallets are just recorded in local storage to make it really easy to query balances and add wallets as well. So now we have covered all of the tokens, the token pages, the endpoints, etc. I'm also going to leave a link to the GitHub README so you can check out what are the APIs that we used, and direct links to API docs is on this. You can also go straight to the widget if you want to integrate this and go and try it out yourself. So if you have any questions related to certain APIs for building the DEX terminal, or if you're looking for some more functionality that you want to add, feel free to drop your ideas and comments on the chat, and I'll be sure to check it out and reply to you. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to stay tuned for more such tutorials. I'm also going to leave a link to all the docs and Moralis websites which you need in the description as well, so that you can easily check it out and see how you can build such kind of a clone or a DEX terminal by just integrating our APIs. So thank you.